Hello everyone, my name is Roya, and today I am coming to you with the books that I read in the latter half of September. There are a lot of them, so these descriptions of them may be a little bit brief, I don't know, and I don't know what is going on with the lighting right now. I swear, like, I sat down to film and just a cloud blocked out the sun all of a sudden, so I don't know, it was brighter in here a second ago, so I don't know what's up with the weather right now. But anyway, so firstly, I did reread A Wizard of Earthsea, and then I read the second book in the series, The Tombs of Atuan. So the A Wizard of Earthsea is a book that I actually just read for the first time a few years ago, like maybe 2018 or 19, something like that. And it had the misfortune of being the first book that I read after I had just started playing music again. So my brain was just on like haywire and just all over the place. So even though I remembered loving this book, I did not remember anything about it even as soon as I finished reading the book. Like, I forgot all about it because my brain was just doing weird things that it had never done before. So I did end up having to reread this in order to read the second one, and I'm really glad I did. I had really forgotten everything about this book practically, which is really weird. Normally I don't read, like, the reason you really don't see me reread books very often at all is because I feel like I always remember the books really, really well. So I pretty much have to wait like a good decade before I reread a book. But this is definitely a case where I really had to reread this one in order to even keep going in the series because I remembered nothing. But the second book does follow a totally different main character and everything, but it's still connected to what goes on in this one. But anyway, I definitely really enjoyed both of them, of course. I mean, I knew I would enjoy this one because I did before. I just didn't remember it at all. And then I definitely really liked this one as well. Not as much as this one, but it was still really good. Into the Dim by Janet B. Taylor. This is about a girl who her mother was supposedly killed in an earthquake accident, but she saw, as she found evidence of her mom actually not having been in that building. So she can't really explain why no one had heard from her mother, and thusly her mother was presumed dead in the accident. And then she finds out that that is because her mother actually went to Scotland instead of India, where she was supposed to have gone, and had gone back in time and gotten stuck back in time. So she ends up having to go with a couple of other people to rescue her mother, and there are some rival time travelers who are trying to get something and mess up time and all this other stuff that they encounter while they're there, and it's just really crazy. So they go back to like the 1100s basically, and things are just really crappy for women back then and all of that too, and it's just really insane. So this is a book that I had been wanting to read ever since it came out, and for some reason I just never got around to it. Like, the library didn't have it for like a while, and then by the time they did, I had too much other stuff I wanted to read more than this, and then I wound up getting this arc in like as a trade to somebody for a different arc, and so finally I got to this, and it was really good. I am really glad I read it. It was really gripping, and the conflict was really good. And overall, it felt pretty well researched too, but I think a lot of what went on with it was really convenient. And overall, the characters really didn't have any depth to them, like any real depth. And for instance, the main character, we're kind of just told that she has a lot of issues with anxiety and a lot of phobias. And she's constantly spending the whole book like cursing herself for being like too afraid to do this or that, and blaming herself for stuff that happened because she didn't do something. And so we see that like she has issues with anxiety, but we don't see that in the book. Throughout the whole book, she's just nothing but resourceful and clever, and has no problem at all the entire time. And it's only at the very end of the book that she has a total issue being claustrophobic and stuff. But for the most part, we're really just told that she has anxiety and a lot of phobias, and we don't see that at all until the very end of the book. We see like no examples of that at all. So and so that's the type of thing that really annoys me in books, where we don't actually see something, we're just kind of told that. And then also the only person of color almost in the whole book is the villain, and that just really rubbed me the wrong way. And she was also totally a Latinx stereotype as well, and so that just, I was not too happy about that at all. It was just really weird. So overall, I did really like this book, but I think that it had a lot of issues as well that made me not enjoy it as much. To Like the Lightning by Ada Palmer, this is a really philosophical book, I guess, taking place in like a far future utopia type of thing. And it actually reminds me a lot of the Three Body Problem series. So I think if you like that, you would really like this as well. It's really, it was really good. I really enjoyed reading it. I'm kind of glad that I mostly listened to this on audiobook because yeah, it just gets really into a lot of profound statements and whatnot, and I think that if I were like reading the physical copy, I would have gotten a little bit bored, but listening to it on audio made it really entertaining. But yeah, so I really enjoyed this book and I definitely recommend it. The Cat Who Saved Books. This is translated from Japanese. It is about a cat and a young boy, like high school age, whose grandfather ran a bookstore. His grandfather passed away, so this cat shows up and basically says that the boy is the new proprietor of the bookstore, and so he comes and he takes the boy to go and save different books from different people, basically. And a lot of the conflicts that he runs into are definitely some really interesting parallels to what actually goes on in publishing. So for instance, there's a guy who is cutting up books as research to basically condense books into just the summary so that people can say they've read like 12 books in a day, like say they've read a book when they really haven't, because they've really read like a synopsis. And so, for instance, like a short story, he basically just cuts out one sentence and says, here, you can read this in 0.5 seconds, because it's just this one sentence and that encompasses the whole book. And the boy is like, no, you're totally not reading the book at that point. You're literally just reading a synopsis, and he has to like stop that guy from doing that and point out to him that that's not reading the book, and that takes away the life that the book has. And you know, in today's world, everywhere we kind of have people who think that reading audiobooks is not reading, when you literally are getting the exact same book. You're just listening to it. Like it is reading. It's the same media. You're not getting just a synopsis. And then also the boy encounters, like, for instance, a publishing company, and a guy in charge of the publishing company who doesn't even read and doesn't even like books, and thinks that like if you like books, you can't view them as like a business thing, blah blah blah, and is only publishing just what's most entertaining, and taking out a lot of what would actually be really good in favor of just what'll sell the most. And we see that now especially with Barnes and Noble only carrying certain books in stores, like only ones that are demonstrated to sell really well, that type of thing. And so we see like a lot of what actually goes on in publishing and all of that. But overall, that's not what I loved most about this book. I really liked just it's definitely a book for people who love books, and I definitely really liked it. Lost in the Moment and Found by Seanan McGuire. I got this as an e-arc. This is the 8th book in the Wayward Children series, which is amazing. So if you have not read this series, please do. It's basically about a bunch of different kids at a boarding school who have gone to other worlds and come back, and now they go to a boarding school that for kids who like can't deal with the fact that they're back from a wonderful magical world and they don't want to be in the real world. They would rather be where they were, all of that. So every other book, every even numbered book in the series, follows a character, whether it's a new character or a character who we've seen in the books before, and basically the backstory on how they went to the world that they went to before they went to the boarding school. So in this one, we follow the character of Antoinette, who goes to a world where it's basically like an in-between world where people from other worlds all go to find things that they've lost. And so she basically lives there, helps people find lost things, and then also goes to other worlds for just like the day to like buy things and whatnot. So she sees a lot of other worlds while she's there, and then it turns out that she's actually aging faster than she should be, which, you know, she's a young kid. She's like not like 8 years old when she goes there for in the first place. So she didn't know. She was not aware that she wasn't supposed to be 16 in 2 years. And then finally, Outlawed by Anna North. This is a historical fiction, basically. I'm not sure if it's necessarily YA or not. I think it is. It basically takes place in like 18 something, and it centers around a girl who becomes an outlaw because in this time period, women who don't wind up getting pregnant or anything just kind of get kicked out of the house and have nothing else to do. So she kind of just goes and becomes an outlaw. And I think that this book was really good. It was short and to the point, and it was really interesting. But I do think that it may not have been as well researched as it could have been, and a lot of what was like what exactly is going on in it felt a little bit more made up than historical necessarily. And so some things about it sort of took me out of the story. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you've read any of these, let me know if you have any thoughts, and I will see you very soon with a new video. Bye!